right? Because we're also going to have stages where we deploy a project. The methodology. It drives our work. It determines the role of AI in our project. And it also determines what is the underlying thesis for the project, right? Because at core, we're still following the scientific method, right? That hasn't changed. That'll never change. So what is the thesis that we have? How can we prove it? And what are the experiments that we will need, right? So that's the methodology portion. The project planning, which is today's focus, is creating the Agile plan. What are the programming environments we will need? What does our training code look like? And what does our prediction code look like, right? That is something that I'm putting a special emphasis on because very, very few academic programs out there teach that, right? How you write your training code is completely different than how you write your prediction code, right? Those in many ways are like two separate programming efforts, right? So we're going to focus on that a little bit today in our project plan. We're going to focus on a lot of things today in our project plan, but I do want to put a slightly extra emphasis on that. And then the creation, right? How do we actually execute the plan, right? The Agile plan that we're going to create today. How do we create the programming environments? How do we manage the libraries we're going to use? And then how do we carry out the work of what most people think is data science, right? It's in the creation stage that I think, we're going to be seeing more code and more execution and all those things that people say, oh, well, if you want data science, you got to learn this library. Well, there's a lot more to it than that, right? So, but it's in this stage that we're actually going to get to that part of data science. And then in the deployment stage, we're actually going to push this model out. We're going to make everything that we do is going to result in something that we can actually use, right? So that'll be part of the deployment stage. Keep in mind that I did say that today we're going to focus on the project planning side. But have you really done project planning if you haven't talked about deployment? Have you really done project planning if you haven't talked, or project planning and methodology, if you haven't talked about an ideation phase or some sort of discussions with your stakeholders, right? Because you can't build a solution in a vacuum. That's a massive mistake, right? You're a technical team, not a business team. So you got to have feedback from the stakeholders, right? So the reason I'm starting with this review, because today we're going to touch upon all of these things. So I want you to take all of these things, right? Methodology, project planning, creation, and deployment. I want you to take all four of those things and kind of keep that in the back of your mind, because we're going to talk about all of these at some point today. Okay? All right. So what are we doing? We're a data science team. We're capable of working on any project. We can think of ourselves as like an external consulting team or like an internal innovation team, right? Doesn't really matter per se. Some differences, but I'm acting as the chief data scientist and all of you are data scientists on the team. And then ChatGPT is our employee, right?